Now, we mentioned Vegas on the schedule. There is another big fight rumored, at least they're talking about it in the UK, and that would be Klitschko against David Haye. And my first question on that one is, why would you put that fight here? Klitschko hasn't fought in the U.S. forever. He doesn't sell here. David Haye is still not a known entity in the U.S., and let's say it again, we're here in Las Vegas. We just had 3 great fight cards, and they combined basically for $13,500 combined in 3 fights.
Yeah. Las Vegas right now is not doing well selling tickets. Even for UFC. UFC is doing better than boxing in Las Vegas for tickets, but you notice the UFC's attendance in Las Vegas is less than it is in other places. So Las Vegas right now is really struggling, in live gate, getting the people in. They can get the high rollers in because the casinos are giving them, buying the tickets and giving it to the high rollers. And those are what's accounting for the huge gates they get. But, I think it's ridiculous. Klitschko had a problem in Las Vegas after his fight with Layman Brewster. He accused the Nevada Athletic Commission of drugging him, or somebody of drugging him, and there was a threat of a lawsuit, and a lot of stuff went on. And I would be very surprised if Klitschko would ever agree to fight in Las Vegas, forgetting, if he was told he could sell out the biggest venue in the city, I don't think he'd come back.
Yeah, I'd love to see the fight in the United States, but to me it makes sense either in Germany or like Wembley or some, the O2 in London. It is a guaranteed sellout anywhere in Europe.
Yeah, I think they could put it in a soccer stadium over there and get 40, 50, 60,000. I was in Cardiff, Wales a couple of years ago for the Kessler-Calzaghe super middleweight fight in, late 2007 at Millennium Stadium, and it was like 60,000, 50, 60,000. So I think that, a Klitschko-Haye fight would just be huge over there, and that's where it belongs. Put it in a soccer stadium, pack it in. I think it would just go over big time.
What would be the backup in the U.S.? Because I did notice David Haye or Golden Boy has made it a habit recently to be hanging out with David Haye an awful lot, so I'm sure they would like it somewhere in the U.S.
Well, they're co-promoting David Haye. I mean, they want to see him. I think what Golden Boy's dream would be for him to beat the Klitschko brothers and then come compete in the U.S. If he could go through the 2 Klitschkos and become the undisputed heavyweight champion, I mean, David Haye has got a great personality. A lot of people think I'm anti-David Haye, and I'm not. I think he was a hell of a cruiserweight. I think he's a great personality, Steve. The problem is that he's really trying to talk his way into these big fights at heavyweight. He hasn't beaten anybody. Put him in with some of these guys. He seems to be ducking the Klitschkos by the way I can look at it. But I think he's a terrific young guy, and I think he could be popular in the U.S. He can punch. He's an exciting type fighter. If he can beat the good fighters, which in the heavyweight division begins and ends with Vitaly Wladimir Klitschko, then I think that the Golden Boy can make something out of him in the U.S. But until then, I don't see it happening.
You're not marking down Audley Harrison as a huge victory?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be one of the epic fights in boxing history, no.
So what would be the backup plan for both Haye and Klitschko if they can't make the fight? And what's the percentage? I mean, how close is this to getting done?
I have to think that the Klitschko brothers really are getting tired of it and want to get it done because, how many times can they fight these guys like, Tony Thompson and Kevin Johnson and just, these fights that could, Shannon Briggs that go the distance and are, one-sided fights. They're just, I think the public is tiring of them and, I'm not tiring of the Klitschkos, but tiring of those kind of fights.
Yeah.
And so I think at least with David Haye, I don't think I know a lot of people that think that David Haye could beat the Klitschkos, but I think it would be, they believe would be a more entertaining fight. And the fact that David can punch a little bit would lend some of that, hey, if he catches one of them on the jaw, the fight could end. So, I think that's the argument for it. And I think the Klitschko brothers are desperate to get that fight made. That's why, they've started calling sports writers in the U.S. calling out David Haye. They're actually calling him out trying to get it done.
All right, Kev, very nice job. We'll talk to you.
Thank you, Steve.